Hello there. Today, I want to talk to you about something called the 30-day rule. This video is geared toward new wet shavers, newbies, not so much guys that have been around for a while with it. So there's a rule that you hear bandied about the forums called the 30-day rule. Now, I haven't heard it as much lately. But I don't spend a lot of time in the beginner forum anymore. So maybe it's there and I'm not seeing it because I don't go there. I don't know. But it's important. It's a really important rule. Can't stress enough how important it is. The 30-day rule is where you learn not only technique for shaving, but lathering. You learn the basics. And the thing of it is, even even scientists and doctors and really well educated people, when they go to study something or when they go to try something new, people in research and development for different companies and stuff like that, they have a baseline that they follow, the average common denominator that they go by, so that they have something that's a gauge for whatever it is they're working on. Whatever alterations to a product they might make in research and development, they would compare it to the baseline to see, whether the change is good or bad and what difference they've made. And so you really need to know and understand certain things. First of all, with a razor, you need to understand not just the angle that the razor you're using needs to shave well, but how to find that angle. With a soap, you need to learn the basics of how to really lather a soap very well. So that, because all soaps and all razors, they're all different. They all shave a little different. The razors, the soaps, they all lather a little bit differently. But if you have the basics down, then you can alter your technique however you need to in order to get the best from whatever new product you're trying to use. So what I would recommend, let's talk about the razor first. What the 30-day rule is that you take one razor, one soap, and one brush, and you use those three items. Now, what you would do with a double-edged razor or any kind of razor that takes a replaceable blade is during that 30-day period, you would get a wide assortment of blades. You can get samplers online that have anywhere from 8 to 15 different kind of blades, depending on what it is that you want to, how much money you want to pay for the sampler, how wide of a spread you want of options. But you need to take and use different blades until you find the blade that is good for your face and most comfortable for you. And then you need to stick with that blade as well. But for 30 days, you would shave with, one razor, one brush, and one soap. And not change anything for 30 days. And that way, at the end of that 30 days, you should pretty well know your equipment well, and also how to use that equipment, how to, with a razor, how to find the angle, so that the next time you pick up a different kind of razor, you can use the same technique that you learned to find the angle on that first razor you used, to find the proper angle on the next razor you choose to try. So I'm not going to really give too many name brand recommendations. I'm going to do more general. But the first thing that I would recommend is that you start with a DE. I know there's some controversy from the straight razor guys, and I'm one of those guys, at least 50 or 60% of the time, saying, well, you can start with a straight. Well, yeah, you can. A lot of guys did. Not a problem. If that's what you want to do, knock yourself out. Just use the same straight. But the reason that I would recommend you start with a DE is because when learning to shave with a straight razor, a lot of times you might want to make just one pass on your cheek, or the passes on your cheek, and not do your chin until you get more comfortable with the razor and stuff like that, so that even when you begin to shave your whole face, your technique might not be good enough to keep from chewing your face up with that straight razor. So you can do one pass with a straight and then grab a DE and finish your shave and have a nice clean shaved appearance without looking like your face is made out of hamburger. So that's why I recommend you learn the DE first. And it's got nothing to do with anything else other than that. You can learn to use a straight razor if that's what you want to do first, and only a straight razor if that's what you want to do. I just think it's easier if you have a DE to fall back on. You could actually use your Mach 3 or your disposable razors to clean up until you got good with a straight. But why do that? They stink. Get a DE and a good blade. You'll thank yourself. Every time you pick that DE up and use it, instead of using that cart to clean your pass up, you'll be grateful for that. So, but anyway, the first thing you want to do is you want to choose a razor. You want to choose the razor that you want. Now, I can give recommendations, but the big deal is you got to learn whether you prefer a modern razor. Now, this is a Maggard MR6, but there are two modern razors that are recommended an awful lot, and that's the Edmund Jagger DE89 and the Müller R89. Both of them are mild, forgiving razors that are good for a beginner wet shaver, according to the knowledge of a great many people on the forums. I've never used either one of those razors, but because I prefer a vintage Gillette. They come in a lot of different flavors. This is a tech, but they're all pretty mild, and I like the vintage stuff. So you got to decide, do I want modern or do I want vintage to start? That's up to you. I'm not going to try to sway you either way. When I started wet shaving, my 30-day rule was a Gillette, Lady Gillette Blue, Pucko Vanderhagen soap, and the Vanderhagen brush and bowl in their premium kit. That's what I use for 30 days. It doesn't matter. Just pick a brush, pick a razor, pick a soap, and stick with it. I would recommend some type of board. This is a Semogue here, but it doesn't matter. Omega makes a wonderful brush. Truth be told, my Vanderhagen brush worked just fine, still works just fine. So, choose a brush, choose a razor, and then choose a soap. Now, on the soap, I stress soap. You can start with creams, and I've heard that recommended, and people say, well, you can do that. That's okay. I really think you should start with a Puck soap. And the reason I say that is because creams, for the most part, are dead easy. They're really easy to lather. And if you learn how to shave just lathering creams, and later you want to move toward soaps, you're going to struggle making lather with soaps. So, but if you can learn to lather a hard soap, creams there's nothing, the world's your oyster. You can lather soaps, you can lather creams, it's no big deal. You're not going to struggle with the cream, and if you learn properly how to lather a soap properly, then you can take what you learned with that one soap and apply it to all the others and get good lather and good results. I would make a recommendation that you purchase a fairly inexpensive hard puck soap. Not a Crope or an Italian soft soap like Razor Rock, they're good. That's good stuff, but I think you ought to try a hard puck, and this is where I will make a kind of a brand recommendation. I really think one of the things that helped me, see, I started DE shaving in the 70s, but I used a can of Barbasol. I didn't use a brush and a puck of soap. When I got into traditional wet shaving, I'd never used a soap before or a brush. And what I did, I bought the Vanderhagen Premium Kit, and my local Food Line sold the Vanderhagen Deluxe Shave Soap for $2 a puck. Puck of soap. And what I did was I bought 2 or 3 pucks of the Vanderhagen, and I took a puck of it because, let's face it, it costs $2. Big deal. Even if it costs $5 or $6 or $7, it would be worth what I'm fixing to say to do. Buy you a spare puck of whatever soap it is that you're going to use for the 30 days. Choose you a good bore brush. Stand in front of the sink with that puck of soap and lather. Lather, bowl lather. And the reason I say bowl lather is this. Bowl lather teaches you how to lather. So does face lather. And I'm not knocking face lather in any way. But to do what I'm fixing to tell you and face lather doing it, your face would be raw. And you wouldn't be able to shave for 3 or 4 days. But if you can learn to lather in a bowl, then you can take those same techniques and apply them to your face when you get done and do whatever it is you want. Face, bowl, doesn't make any difference. So I would recommend that you get you a bowl or the Vanderhagen bowl, something so that you can bowl lather. Stand at the sink, lather the puck. Watch some videos of some guys that know what they're doing and look and see what kind of lather they're getting. Lather that puck, spread it on your face. Look and see what it looks like, feel what it feels like. Does it look dry? Is it too wet? Can you see through it? Can you not? Is it thick and creamy? Wash your face. Lather that puck again. Over and over and over do this till that puck of soap is gone. When these brushes are wet and you're doing this kind of stroke, not this. See, this is making lather on your face. When I lather in a bowl, I'm just painting it on my face. It's really soft like that with those brush stroke types of strokes. So your face is not going to suffer like you would if you were face lathered. And just do it over and over and over again until that puck of soap is gone. And I can tell you right now, you will learn a huge, huge lot about how to lather a soap if you try that. You don't have to lather your face every time, but lather it, see what happens. Lather some more, look at the lather, see what it looks like. If it looks the same, if it looks better, if it looks worse, clean the bowl out, lather some more. And then later on, after 4, 5, 6 times, put the lather on your face. See what it looks like. Over and over and over again. That's the best advice I could give anybody learning to lather soap. I did that. I stood at the sink. It took actually 2 sittings to get it done. I stood at the sink for 2 or 3 hours the first time, and then about an hour or two the last time. just constantly lathering that soap until I learned how to get the very best out of the Vanderhagen soap that I was using, that I'd chosen for my 30 days, my 30-day rule, my 30 days of soap. That was it. And if you'll do that, it doesn't have to be Vanderhagen. It could be Sterling. It could be Mike's Naturals. It could be any kind of hard puck soap. Heck, you could do it with Mitchell's Wool Fat, and probably you'd be, sitting pretty if you could get that. Because a lot of guys say it's really hard. I never had a dime one problem lathering Mitchell's Wool Fat, but I did what I just told you when I first started learning to wet shave, and I think it paid off. But, get you a hard puck of soap, something fairly inexpensive, so you're not pouring $35 down the sink, and do that. You will be surprised what you'll learn about lathering, about how to use the brush, all that kind of stuff. And then, use that soap for 30 days. Give yourself a baseline to start from, a baseline of comparison, so that you can know and understand. It's kind of like, what I can relate it to is I'm a musician. There's a method, science, technique, whatever you want to call it. I call it a science. And it's an art as well, called theory, musical theory. And musical theory, you learn musical theory, but then you don't just, you don't stick strictly to theory and say, well, that sounds good, but it goes against theory, so I'm not going to do it. Theory, what it does is it tells you what is possible, not what you must not do, but all that you can do, what is possible. And then the really creative stuff comes in, and your creativity allows you to take the theory that you learned to help you to understand the basics of music, and then you do your own thing with it. It opens up creativity, and it opens up knowledge and skill that you might not have realized you had if you hadn't learned the theory in the first place. And I'll be honest with you, I learned theory, and then over the past 30 years, I forgot most of the theory that I knew. But it doesn't matter, because my fingers know it, and my heart knows it, and I instinctively go to the places that I'm supposed to go in music because because I learned that theory, and I had a base, a foundation. And that's what the 30-day rule is for. It's to give you a good, solid foundation in wet shaving, so that you can continually improve, and so that you can go out, and try different razors, try different soaps, try different brushes, and you can find a technique that works for those soaps and creams and brushes and razors and all of that, because you learned the basics of how to find that through the 30-day rule. So the 30-day rule, it's a good thing. God bless you, and I'll see you later.